running through my mind. I'm like, I don't exactly know what they were laughing about, but it was.
Well, yeah. After that, Shaker being taken out, and then the Brood ban, phase ban. Definitely not something people are going to forget just yet. After day one,
it's you don't give that a hero to Zai unless you have a really good plan. Like that is just, in my opinion, his best hero compared to everyone else in the scene. Like where he is most ahead of others is just Brood. So. Definitely agree with that. Now, they did pick up the Shaker as I was thinking they would. It's just a very standard LGD go-to first phase pick, solid carry plus Shaker. It's also a good way of putting pressure on Shadow Fiend, who will more than likely be mid. There is a slight chance that Secret safe lane it and mid lane the Quap because of this, but I don't think they will. So of course it gives you roaming potential to try to block off the Shadow Fiend, and then whatever mid lane you have could probably easily kill him. So I'm thinking LGD might be considering their Lina as their next pick, because they can first of all put it mid on maybe, but they can also play it on Xiao 8, who likes to play the support.
Yeah. We were talking about Lina and like what teams like to pick it. Like other than Hot 6, LGD was the other team that came to our mind when we were talking about that hero yesterday. Has a very good matchup with Quap and definitely deals with like BKB targets like Shadow Fiend very well later into the game.
Secret do have the next pick though. They've banned Bounty. That was another hero we forgot in phase 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. And then there's a lead.
I mean, there's still Dazzle for Team Secret. There's also still Clock.
Clock could be good. Like it's really good versus Gyro in some sense. Like we mentioned before, he gets BKB, you have a timing window.
Look at Dazzle. I still think Clock, Coddle might be their last two picks actually.
They rarely pick Dazzle and.
But yeah, Dazzle and Coddle together might be a little bit too defensive. They did do that. Wasn't there that their support duo against Fnatic? Was that Dazzle Coddle, or was it Coddle and another defensive?
I think it was Dazzle Coddle.
They had a Tusk, but I think that was played by Zai in that game, so it was not a support. Might have been Dazzle Coddle. There's the Wisp. They're expecting. Could come out here in the series. So. We're going to see it with a Tiny, most likely. I think they did play that yesterday. It was maybe on Tiny. I do think one game, or am I mixing it up with another team?
Yeah, I think it's really good of a choice to choose it right now, because once Secret revealed their Quap and Shadow Fiend, usually when Secret see IO plus Tiny, they will respond with the Bristleback. You put the Bristleback towards the IO Tiny lane because it deals very well with 1 versus 2 situation. It does very, very well.
S4 is not laughing so much right now. So.
Yeah, I think they probably realized they couldn't. It's difficult for them to switch towards the Bristleback gear right now, since their other 2 cores are already shown.
I still think they can do it though.
Then they have to do Queen of Pain offlane, right?
Yeah. Well, it's not ideal, but neither is putting SF mid.
There's gonna be negative parts about doing that, because their lanes will be a bit weird. And I think SF does very badly against IO Tiny, in my opinion. It does very, very badly. He needs help somehow.
You can tell Secret didn't want this pick to happen, because they're digging a lot into their extra time. They might have not expected it, with the Shaker already being picked for LGD, that they would also go for the IO.
Yeah. And usually when you pick IO here, it more or less means there's a high chance that the Earthshaker is actually a core offlane position. We saw it done by teams a lot of times already. When they have IO, the Earthshaker is actually not a support, it's offlane, because if you put IO and Earthshaker as a support duo, it's sort of weird.
Do you think Secret are considering Disruptor as a combo with Darkseer and a counter to Wisp right now, as their potential 5th pick, already thinking about that when they get the DS, and that they figured that if they pick Disruptor first, Darkseer will probably get banned?
You know, I'm thinking maybe Enigma as well, like if you want to counter the relocate.
I think Secret just don't really like playing that anymore.
It's a good.
They very rarely pick junglers.
It's very rare.
Chen yesterday, actually. So maybe they're on the way back with jungle. That's true. It actually got banned against them this time around, so it's possible.
What other heroes that it's really good to counteract the relocate that Secret plays as a support position? We haven't seen Sanking a lot, and we have. I don't think we have ever seen Disruptor from Secret. I don't recall.
They've done AA Disruptor before, but it's not common from them at all.
I think they need something that can follow up after a vacuum.
Right.
Darkseer is going to initiate with vacuum, and you need someone to follow up with stun. There's got to be something, right, apart from the Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, Sanking and Disruptor make the most sense, I would say, in that regard. I mean, AA is still not out of the question either.
the thing is, they have no stuns though, but I guess it's secret, so they don't really care about that.
Yeah, and they banned the Bane, so I guess they're expecting it to be a core shaker, or they're scared of their own offlane Bane, which no other team plays. So it's probably
it's probably they're expecting the Earthshaker to be a core position.
It's gotta be. Is that a classic Yao offlane?
Yes. Yeah, he does it quite a fair bit.
So that's not really a hero-player combination that's very memorable for me. But
at this point, yeah, the Wyvern was open.
Oh yeah, that's a Wyvern.
Wyvern would have been very good too.
Totally forgot about it.
Okay.
And the cast is decent and has quite some synergy with the vacuum. It's not something very common you say with vacuum, but it does work.
And they instant picked it too. Like they didn't want to use any more bonus time. They were like, okay, maybe they were thinking they'll ban Wyvern, we get Witch Doctor. They already planned for it.
Yeah.
The Darkseer, I expect him to do very well because since it's an IO, there's going to be IO Tiny. The other lanes will be 2-1-2, and Darkseer thrives in a situation where it's only 2 heroes instead of 3.
What if LGD picks, say, Rubik, and they put Rubik Gyro top? Do you still think Darkseer will be fine if they put IO Tiny?
Yeah, Rubik is going to be a problem. Yeah.
IO Tiny beats Shadow Fiend. But they can help Shadow Fiend with Dazzle or Witch Doctor. That's actually the nice thing about Secret's lineup is that both can help in.
They're actually going for the...
That's another good hero against Darkseer, actually.
Yeah, you can glimpse the surge, so Darkseer has to be more careful in the lane in that regard.
I think Disruptor kind of can be a soft counter to the Grave too. We've been constantly looking for solutions to the Dazzle, and some people used to be like Doom and Glimpse. We've seen AA, but Disruptor is one of the good ones.
I think it's a very good pick in the sense that it does another 2 things. It does well against Quap, and he's one of the few heroes that you can stand very far behind, and you are still able to disrupt the channeling ultimate from the Witch Doctor from a safe distance, because usually Witch Doctor is very far behind as well, so it's difficult to reach him, but with Glimpse, there's always a chance that you can still cancel his ultimate.
Alright, so in this case, disregarding the fact that it is Team Secret, are we favoring LGD's draft a little bit more then? Just it seems like, of course, they had their plan not disrupted as much as Secret did in the draft.
I think it's pretty even, and in a way you could say pressures on LGD to shut down the Shadow Fiend, I think. If they just let Shadow Fiend free farm, I think this is actually not a bad Shadow Fiend game. When he gets BKB, the LGD lineup doesn't have that hard single target damage early on, so...
Alright.
I would call it even.
Okay, well, we'll see how both teams execute it again. Game 1 of possibly the best matchup we have in Group A right now. It is LGD versus Team Secret.
TI5 itself. As far as which teams you're looking at and worried about moving forward, it's like LGD, Secret, and EG. These, to me, are the big 3 right now here at TI5.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I believe let's just see here. We're welcoming in the live stream. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's Secret versus LGD. Huge match here in Group A with massive implications for the main event. Should either team win this 2-0, very likely to finish first in Group A. And with that, would get to choose their opponent in the winner's bracket. You win that one match at the main event, you're guaranteed top 6. You're guaranteed over $1 million in prize money at the International 2015. So let's get into it here. We're going to see Secret going back to their DAC picks, the Queen of Pain Shadow Fiend, the big AoE controllers, LGD, with something they ran on day 1, the Tiny IO. So excited to see how this works out, and already getting ready for the rune spawns here. Seems like LGD want the bottom rune, probably going to be the ones to snag it, and it'll be Secret taking the top.
Yeah, Queen of Pain S4 gets Vigilant. Both teams were fairly defensive with their just positioning at level 1. We didn't see any kind of rotations towards the enemy jungle or any kind of early first blood attempts. So Secret especially were just like huddled by their ancients, not willing to venture out at all. But we'll see how things work out here. Arteezy going to have the rough lane against the IO Tiny, and that's where Kuro, for now, just blocking the mid lane for him, but I think we'll even see Kuro just kind of hang around and help out as much as possible.
Yeah, leaving Shadow Fiend alone against this dual lane is scary. They can just run at you, and if you're not far enough back as a Shadow Fiend, can easily give up a kill around, say, level 3 to 5. So with the Witch Doctor here, secure Arteezy's early farm, help him get that quick bottle out, and just ensure that he's able to get his early CS going. Can also go back, stack the jungle. I think it's definitely the right move here. The Queen of Pain doesn't need help, and Darkseer getting the help that he will need against the Disruptor Gyro. As we were talking about during the draft, it's a scary lane if you just leave the Darkseer alone. If he ever gets glimpsed in the kinetic field, he's dead to the Rocket Barrage follow-up. So Secret going with the dual lanes
Puppy's done his homework. He's been reading his stat stock. Got the immediate D-ward off at top lane, finding Zhao Wei. Kind of an unconventional ward spot as well. It was like right near where the big camp was, and that helps out a lot. Darkseer really loves having that big camp available, and This will make their life a lot easier. Just he's constantly harassing and keeping Zhao Wei low on HP, already forcing out multiple tangos. So this offlane seems to be good for Secret.
And so far, looking at the CS here, a good start for Team Secret, but Zai takes a pounding from the Rocket Barrage, and Sylar sending a warning shot that if you play too aggressive in this top lane, they will make a move on you. There's a Grave, there's a heal, but even through that, you can often run these heroes down, find those early kills with the combo. Got to be careful, and we should probably take a look here at the bottom lane quickly. It looks to be an S4 favored lane, heavily so. Queen of Pain versus the solo Shaker, but Yao is getting his early levels, already hits 3, and definitely not expected to dominate this one, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I like that Secret's move is just to not give him any support whatsoever in the safe lane S4. They just say, look, he can crush the Earthshaker on his own. Supports helping out mid lane, helping out top lane. MM-wise, got to be a bit careful. Did get the rune, but taking quite a bit of damage here from the Arteezy harass.
Yeah, you can see a little extra investment by Secret in trying to control this middle lane. Not just the dual lane, but even bringing in that top support of Puppey on the Dazzle to either secure the rune or at least put some harassment the way of LGD. And there has been a lot of stacking already, gods, both in the Radiant and Dire big camps. With the IO, no surprises. With the Shadow Fiend, Darkseer, also no surprises. We may not. This looks like a game that could be a bloodbath early, or could very easily just turn into a very long-term economy game with both teams really looking to maximize their farm. It's just going to come down to whether or not the teams are finding their openings.
Yeah. One of the big kind of where the forks that LGD can take is whether or not they get the Blink Dagger on Tiny. If they get any kind of an early game advantage, I think he'll go for it and try and just snowball from there, finding kills. But if it really feels like it's a bit of a stalemate or Secret is slightly ahead, he'll play the farm game and look for the Aghanim Scepter as his first item. We've seen a bit of both coming out from IO Tinies, and it really depends on the tempo the game is going.
He's really not farming right now is the worry. As Avalanche comes out, won't connect on anything. Couldn't have gone even if it did with Kuro ready to back up Arteezy, but the CS on this Tiny is leaving quite a bit to be desired. Only 5 creeps. Arteezy